We got Gerald Meerschaert back here on the program. He's going to be fighting this Saturday against Dustin Stoltzfus in the middleweight division. Gerald, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, James. Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you as well. I know you're at the PI. How's everything going for Fight Week?
Really good. Weight's coming off smooth. I'm kind of riding off the work I put in for these last two camps and been a little bit closer to weight, but all good things, feeling good, ready to get in there and do work.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to it. And again, appreciate you doing this on Fight Week. When did you find out about the new opponent? Because I know you're supposed to fight someone whose name I don't even want to bother trying to pronounce. But how'd you find out about Dustin?
It was actually the week of Sergio Pettis' fight against Horiguchi. My manager was out there. He had some guys fighting on that card. And he was obviously with my team, Duke Rufus, Scott Cushman, and those guys that were out there helping Serge. And so, yeah, I think it would have been that like Tuesday or Wednesday, they had texted me about it. And I was like, hey, I've been, what is that, literally a week before. And I'm like, I've been training to fight. Wouldn't have mattered what name it was. I was ready to get in there and say yes.
Yeah. And how good is it to get one more in before the end of the year? I know that's something you wanted to do.
It's nice, man. I timed everything out really, really well. 3 in the year on the back end of the year. And then hopefully after this one, I can take a little bit of a break, but it was a good stretch because I had enough time to recover without like losing too much and getting lazy in between camps. It just kind of all worked out perfect.
How's the schedule been with the little one? Dad Meerschaert, is that a thing? Like, how have you been able to sort of navigate through that leading into fight camp?
It's been good, man. Like, he's still a pretty good sleeper. It's my wife's busy season right now too, so it's been a little more hectic as far as like us both being really busy. But I moved some things around in my schedule, and nothing bad that would make anything more strenuous. But it's still easy. I still usually take him and or pick him up from daycare, and make sure he's good and change him and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. In Canada, we have mat leave. So my wife's off for the entire year and she gets paid to do that. And I know in the States, that's not really a thing. So I couldn't imagine having to do both. Like it's nuts. So all the power to you and the wife. That's awesome.
Yeah. She got like 3 months, which for us is pretty good. But yeah, definitely not a year. That would have been nice.
Yeah, good old Canada. We got a lot of perks over here. What are we going to say? Let's talk about your opponent here, Dustin Stoltzfus, 13-3 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Anybody that gets in the UFC is tough. To get into the UFC, he won that Contender Series fight, slammed the guy, and the guy posted and busted his arm. He hasn't won yet in the UFC, but he's been in some, good fights. He's, like I said, I've been saying this too, and I'm not overlooking him because, a wounded animal is a dangerous animal. So he's going to come out there and give me the very best that he has. His striking's not bad. He stays in mostly the right spot. He'll mix it up here and there. He's not bad at grappling at all. He's got some decent wrestling on the ground. He actually moves pretty well, especially on bottom. He's good about right away getting to his half guard, changing positions to either shoot or kind of roll people through to go for leg locks or sweeps. So, he's not a bad fighter at all. He's a tough young guy, and he's definitely, like I said, going to be hungry for this one.
This is something we talk about every single fight, but experience, like you have more fights than most people on the roster. Like how much is, and especially in this case, because you're fighting a guy who's only had a few UFC fights, how much of an asset is that going into the fight?
I always think it's got to account for something, right? Because I've been around and I fought, just about everybody I can up to this point that's not in the top 15 or top 10. So I think it'll help. It definitely helps me just being more comfortable, fight week again, the third time this year. And just in general, this is like my 15th or so UFC fight. It's just business as usual. You know what I mean? So I'm not like, lackadaisical, but I'm definitely comfortable. I feel good. This is like nothing new to me. Anything that is going to happen during fight week has probably already happened to me twice. So, you know what I mean? I'm here. I'm going to make weight. I'm going to go fight, have a good time, get back to the family for Christmas and, all smiles and hugs.
And this is kind of new for you, at least the last couple fights. You're the betting favorite. Do you not like? It's interesting because you've been the underdog. I think I want to say the last couple fights, right?
Yeah. Well, I think if you went back and looked to see when I was the betting favorite, it's probably happened all 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. But then on top of that, they still got me in the blue corner. I was like, all right, like, of course, yeah, the one time I'm the betting favorite, you guys got me in the blue corner. But like, you know what? That's like I said, if it's happened to me once, it's happened to me, or if it's happened before 5 weeks, it's happened to me twice already. So I'm used to being somehow still I end up in the underdog role somewhat. But
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I look forward to getting a good win streak going. And like I said, he's trying to win his first UFC fight. I'm trying to get my first 3-fight win streak in the UFC, and that would mean a lot to me and a lot for my career.
We know if you can't hear him in the background, JP St. Louis making the trip with you for your cornerman. How did camp go? How did you structure things? Was it mainly at Rufus Sport, or how did you sort of navigate through camp?
Yeah, it was mainly a Rufus Sport. We had guys getting ready for fights in between, obviously, and kind of worked out that we had, pretty much guys fighting all around like a couple leading up to and all around the same time in that December-ish area. And yeah, I flew JP out to come stay with us, and he's definitely a good size for my current opponent. It actually worked out really well. The original guy I was supposed to fight is very tall and lanky, and this other guy's shaped a little bit more like my training partners, and business as usual for that. Fly him up for, I think it came for like a little over a month this time, and got the work in, got me ready, and I feel great.
Who else did you get to work with as far as bodies in the gym?
Biggie came up for a little bit. I did travel down to Rafael Lovato School in Oklahoma to
cool.
get some more grappling stuff and work with his MMA team there. They had Aaron McKenzie and those guys down there, and they got a couple bigger dudes that are pretty good, and obviously really amazing jiu-jitsu. So that was a good thing for me to have, especially, and just refresh some of the tools, like with a different look and a different style. And Lovato will also be in my corner since I worked with him a little bit.
Oh, no way.
Fight.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a wealth of knowledge he is, right? Especially with the ground game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as if I didn't have enough knowledge in the striking already, now on top of what I already do, I got Lovato in my corner.
Very cool. Okay, that's awesome. And how do you envision the fight playing out? Submissions are your thing, right? Is that we're going to see another one here on Saturday?
Yeah. So I keep saying I think my biggest advantage, and obviously we'll find out when we get in there, but I think right now my biggest advantage is on the feet. Still with my same hard-nosed style in his face, pressing forward, kind of clinch, dirty boxing a little bit. But I always say I want to get the knockout, and then I hit somebody, and either the takedown's open or they shoot in on me, and I choke them. So it wouldn't be a not safe bet to go submission, but all I know is I'm going for a finish. And, all my 30, 40 some fights, I only have, a handful of decisions. So, and in the UFC, I haven't been graced with a decision win. So I feel like I don't get the win unless I get the finish.
Got to get your reaction to last weekend. First, we'll start with the big upset, Juliana Pena defeating Nunes. Just what was going through your head when you saw that? Because that was pretty nuts, especially the way she finished the fight too.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. We watched that, and and not that I didn't think Pena would do well necessarily, but just the way she did it, right? And obviously, a lot of different things and factor into the wow factor, because the first round, Amanda Nunes seemed to be so dominant, right? So much physically stronger. And then all of a sudden that second round, the lactic acid is setting in. She's getting a little bit tired from grappling. And instead of shooting in again to get like an easy submission, Pena decides to, pretty much Max Holloway it, stand in the middle and just start throwing leather. Like that was, nobody would have expected that. Maybe somebody in her camp would have, but nobody else watching would have expected that. It was nuts.
And then the main event, we had Poirier getting submitted by Charles Oliveira. As a jiu-jitsu guy, what did you think of that?
That was a really good fight. I was really torn on I would have been happy with either guy winning. You know what I mean? They both seem like super nice guys. And, I feel like in a certain way, like I understand everyone calling Charles Oliveira a submission guy, but like his stand-up was really good. I mean, he wore the shots well. I think Dustin came out really strong in that first round, and and I might have even felt the same way too in that position, because that first round he tagged him with some really good shots and probably poured it on a little bit more than he normally would have, because he, thought he saw the finish. But Charles Oliveira kept his composure. He still landed good shots. He did really good clinch work, going from outside long in with the knees and the elbows, and pretty much the striking was what set up that submission.
This is the first fight on the new contract, right? I remember I believe you re-upped recently, right?
Yep. Yeah. After that last one, I did.
Yeah, so that must feel good, right? New sort of deal. I'm sure a little bump in pay as well. It's always good to start things off a bit new, because you've had a couple contracts now. You've been in the UFC for a while.
Yeah, no, I forget if it's my third or fourth, but yeah, I'm not mad about it. The UFC really showed me some love on that last one, and my manager Brian Butler, Sucker Punch, he did a great job. So I got no complaints. It's going to be a good Christmas for me, no matter what happens.
And the beard's back. What was the decision? Because last time you told me you didn't want the beard so your child could recognize you. So what's the deal now? You don't want them to recognize you? I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to let him see both. No, so I shaved it off at first, and he saw me with it long enough, and it slowly grew back. And I mean, he's really starting to recognize everything now. And he's seen me with it once. It's getting cold in Wisconsin for the winter. We ain't too far south from y'all, so I gotta keep myself warm.
And just remembered, is this the first time you and Bilal have fought on a card together? I was just trying to remember that.
Oh, man. I think it might be the first time we've been on a card together. I think we might have been back-to-back on an international fight week, possibly.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that was the case for sure, because I think he fought on like the Friday. You might have fought on the Saturday. Was that the Thiago Santos fight that you fought and he fought someone else the night before? I can't remember. I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
That could be it. It sounds like if there was a time, that would have been it. But yeah, I think it was the first time we fought together on the card. So it's, he was hanging out in here with me and JP today, him and Lou Taylor, and we saw Mike Valley and Nacho and all the rest of those guys, and Mauricio Kraft was with him too. So a lot of cool to see, cool people that I see doing well, like that. I don't always get to see them in person, but like those guys are doing well. Nacho got his knockout. Mauricio just got his fight deal signed. And, Mike Valley's always been real cool to me. I like him. And, we get to hang out a little bit during fight week and just, shoot the breeze, so to speak, and kill some time, because there ain't nothing much to do right now for us but, sweat out water weight and just wait for weigh-ins.
Well, we could have done, if I was there, we could have played Mario Kart again, but this damn pandemic. So I'm allowed to go to the US now, but now what they have is you can only be in there for 72 hours before you need a PCR test. And a PCR test is $130. So I'm like, why would I pay that for just a simple test? If it was like $20, no big deal. But yeah, that's the issue I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you have to get it from a certain spot, but we got a bunch of free tests here now, which is, surprising, the land of capitalism and free market enterprise.
I gotta get a hookup. I need to find a doctor or something. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. But in the meantime,
they're free. Like, you can just walk up to them.
Oh, really? Oh, you can get them. Okay. Well, I gotta look into that then. We'll check it out. Thanks so much for the time. Always a pleasure. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, team, family, friends. You know who you are. It's fight week. I'm cutting weight. I'll forget somebody, so I'm just going to say it like that.
I love it.